with the ambulance. But look at this. Now, he comes through here, and to me it just looks like he was never ever going to turn left. It almost looks like he's gone straight ahead. He was also very late getting on the anchors. You only see a whiff of smoke coming, see, at the very last minute, as if he realises, gee, I'm not going to make this, and he jumps on the brakes, but of course all to no avail at that sort of speed. And thank goodness for the debris catch fencing above the Armco, because if that wasn't there, he would have been certainly in the grandstand with the rest of the spectators.
I mean, that's as big a off as you're going to see, isn't it?
It certainly is. And if you have a look at his head and his body, when he hits that fence, the G-forces generated through his body, phenomenal. And that's, of course, the great danger now, is the broken necks, because it's still very hard, if not impossible, to secure or support your neck totally against that sort of a shunt.
Well, of course, Roland Ratzenberger, we talked about that. Now, this crash, obviously, we don't have the same angle, but it certainly doesn't look anywhere near as severe. But the result, of course, is very tragic.
Well, see, once again, he goes straight off. That's a very difficult part of the circuit, because it's a really quick right-hander, and you really have to line it up quite well, because you're no sooner through that right-hander than you've got to jump on the brakes for a second or third gear left-hander. So he's had an enormous impact against that wall. In fact, it's almost a photocopy of what Gilles Villeneuve did in the Ferrari many, many years ago, exactly the same corner. And he has hit that fence. He would be doing 300 plus kilometres an hour. Well, that's an enormous, from 300 to 0 in less than a metre.
Yes,
it's an enormous G-force for your body to take.
Yeah.
And obviously I would imagine he had a broken neck or something that I don't know for sure, so I'm only guessing at that.
Well, you can see the cloud hanging over Berger, of course, with the great Nicky Lauda there. Well, Berger had an amazing accident and got away with that fire, you may remember, Schumacher there. And I mean, he has survived some big shunts. Now, Ayrton Senna was very, very upset with Barrichello going off, because it is one of his, or he is one of his best friends. And of course, this happened. Now, it did cut the practice session short, and not everybody got to practice the way they hoped. But incredibly, Barrichello finished with a broken nose and bruised ribs out of that, and will drive at Monaco.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, the cars now are fabulous, the way in which they're constructed. They can take enormous impacts. But of course, it's now more important than ever that that driver be well and truly secured in the cockpit, because it's the body now that's going through all these traumas and dramas, and the car can take it, but the body can't.
Well, as you sit back in your lounge room all around Australia, think about the tragedy that happened at San Marino. I mean, every weekend we came and we bring you all of the motor racing, the bikes, the cars, Indy cars, and we look at some horrifying accidents, and we just sort of get up and walk out of the studio or out of our home the next day, and we don't really think too much about it because they walk away. Unfortunately for Roland Ratzenberger, he didn't walk away, and that's a very sad part of motorsport, and I guess one that we're going to have to live with from time to time as we realise the danger that the sport holds.